When you subscribe to the Business Coach Kit, you get immediate access to the Client Coaching Planner, which is also known as the Systemization Planner. This is a fantastic coaching tool, but it's also a great way to close deals, a great way to turn prospects into clients. You access the planner from your coach portal. And you use the button Create New Client. Now I'm going to use this as a sales tool. So I'm setting this up in preparation for a sales meeting with my new prospect. At the top of the planner we have this How I Spend My Time, How I'd Like to Spend My Time section. And you can see there's fields for numbers, and actually there's a couple of graphical representations of the results here. So let's remind ourselves about the sales process. It's all about emotion. It's about helping your prospect to understand how dissatisfied they are with the current state of affairs and how great it's going to feel when you help them run their business properly. And a great way into that conversation is to say, Mr. Prospect, when we look at this split of how business owners spend their time, how do you think you spend your time now? And that conversation will almost always end up with numbers that look something like this. So they'll say, well, most of the time I'm doing either selling or operations. In fact, usually a business owner will either major on business development or they'll major on the doing, and they'll have someone else, or they'll rely on someone else to do these other things. But this chap is doing an even split, then they're doing a little bit of finance and admin, a bit of business, setting business direction. And here's the graphical representation of that. And this allows you to have a conversation with the prospect, say, well, actually, do you think that if you keep on spending your time doing these things, it's going to take the business to where you want it? Answer, obviously, no, it's not. So what do you think, Mr. Business Owner, you should be spending your time doing? Well, actually, I need to be doing more things around strategy. Yes, and you also need to be turning your business into a machine for making money. So creating procedures and measurements and delegation and structure so that the machine, the system creates some money and builds the widgets rather than you having to create the money and build the widgets. And actually a key other thing you should be doing is selecting, coaching and developing your staff. So you can see here a very different picture. This is where I am now. This is where I want to be. And this is quite compelling conversation. So you can say, actually, well, this shows the situation as it is. We use this tool in systemization to take snapshots and to move you from where you are now to where you want to be. And the way we do that is a thing called systemization. And this is a dial that shows us your progress from here to here. It shows us how systemized your business is. Would you like to learn a little bit more about how that works, Mr. Business Owner? Yes, I would. Okay. So then you talk to them about the dimensions of systemization here. So we have strategy and vision, marketing, delegation, accountability, planning, KPIs, operating manual, and your management team. Now that's quite a lot of ground to cover in a single sales meeting. So typically you'd focus in on 1, 2 or 3 of those areas where they're particularly unhappy, particularly dissatisfied. But let's just look at how the things work. So let's say this prospect says, well, I think I ought to have a business plan, a strategy. I never have time to produce one, and I think it's really important, but I don't know how to do it. So we say, okay, well, where on this stage, these stages from 0 to 3, where do you think you are? And we've got a little description, a little pen portrait you can talk through with the prospect. So, we never discuss or work on our business vision or strategy and they exist only in my head. And this owner might say, well, okay, well, actually, I think I'm probably there, or maybe I'm here. We've got some kind of strategy, but we only discuss it now and then. And you say, well, where would you like to be? In your ideal business, where do you think you need to be? And often they'll go for stage 3. In this case, we have a strategy that is written down, understood by everyone, and has been turned into key performance indicators. But they might sometimes say stage 2. So I'm going to say, this person says, well, I'd really like to get to stage 2. And I have to admit that currently we're at stage 0. So on this one dimension, strategy and vision, you now have a clear visual picture of where your prospect is, and they have this same picture, where they want to be, and this gap. When you tell the system, when the prospect tells the system where they are, in this case stage 0, the system suggests the next action. In this case, let's create a vision statement. That's going to be a great way to form a basis for thinking about strategy and thinking about your business plan. At this point, the prospect says, oh, that sounds good. How do we do that? Well, you're not on your own. This gives you two things. It gives you a brief description of why a vision statement would be a pretty neat thing to do at this moment in time, and it also gives you access to these tools. So this is what a vision statement is. This is a visioning tool, how to develop a visioning statement, and this is actually a complete workshop that you could run with this client when they become your client to develop their vision. So here's a complete set of activities and exercises to run a vision workshop. So that's a pretty powerful conversation to have with your prospect, and it overcomes one of the key barriers to making sales and business coaching. One of the key objections is, how do I know it's going to work? Where's the evidence? I like you, I hear what you're saying, I have a problem. And this gives you a real concrete way of describing and visualizing the way the business, the progress will work with business coaching. Not only that, you can keep track of this. So here we've got a target date. So we're going to do this, Mr. Customer, by a particular date, which you can choose, or they can choose. So suddenly you're starting to get to closing as well. Okay, when would you like to do this vision workshop? Should we see if we can put a date in the diary? Powerful selling techniques. And the rest of these work the same way. So it could be they've got a whole issue with it. With delegation, it would be perfectly common that they're in this situation. I'll make all the decisions, do a lot of the work, and it would stop if I wasn't here. Sometimes I'll be in this, they've got as far as, well, actually, I've got a guy or lady I'd like to delegate to. I think she's up for it, but I haven't figured out a way to do it. I'd like to get to the stage where all my people, I'm delegating what I need to do, everything I do, and people know exactly what they need to do to it. So I'm going to say stage 3, but currently I'm actually at stage 1. Okay, so here we've got again a visual picture. This is quite a chunky action this has come up with, which is around job descriptions. Okay, and again you can click through on this, get some help and some resources, template, so on and so forth, so you're not alone. Now you'll notice, although this client hasn't moved, he's on 0, as clients move through stage 1, 2, 3 on the various dimensions, this systemization needle goes round. So not only is it a great sales tool, but as you progress through the coaching and you review this on a regular basis, as the review date moves forward each month usually, you can say, okay, well, we've achieved this. We've moved this forward. So they move forward, and you're in a position, again, to overcome one of the great problems with business coaching is that quite often you and your client work quite hard for 6-9 months, and the thing moves forward, but it's hard for the client to remember what it was like before. It's hard for you sometimes to demonstrate value, and they see it as blindingly obvious now what they didn't know 6 months ago. So this is a way of going back and say, remember where you were, and this is where you are, and this is what we can still go on and do. So for all those reasons, it's a great coaching tool as well as a great sales tool. So what I suggest is, if you've subscribed to Business Coach Kit, go straight into your coach portal and start to prepare for your next sales meeting by setting up your new prospect in here. So good luck with that.